Vice President for Institutional Advancement.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. On behalf of our esteemed President, Dr. Ernest Mcneely, we would like to welcome you to our campus here at Calhoun University. It is an honor and a privilege to have the opportunity to stand on this historical day. Today is significant. Today has a significant meaning in several different ways. First and foremost is Veterans Day, and we would like to recognize them and thank them for their service. Before we begin our event, I would like to express my sincere appreciation and give recognition to all of our guests who are taking time out of their busy schedule and to be with us today. I would like to recognize our chairman of the board, Bishop Greene, members of the Boeing Company, our members of the Board of Trustees, our presiding elders and guests, lay leaders of the church, members of the
Carolina Black Coalition, of the Black Caucus, our state and local officials, our business and corporate partners, our Mayor Benjamin, Mayor of Columbia, our alumni members, and our cabinet members. And last but not least, our First Lady, Dr. Ernestine Mcneely. We will follow the program as printed. Thank you.
Dr. Mcneely is a seasoned executive with demonstrated success in diverse settings. Since assuming the presidency at Allen University's, the university's accreditation has been reaffirmed, good standing with the U.S. Department of Education has been achieved, new majors have been added, football and the marching band have been revived, upgrades in campus facilities and technology have been taken, university finances have been strengthened, teacher education programs are returning, and the graduate Dickerson Greene Theological Seminary was launched. In recognition of his expertise and accreditation, he was selected to serve on the U.S. Department of Education's Negotiated Rulemaking Committee on Accreditation and Innovation in 2019. Welcome to the hardest man in show business, President Ernest Mcneely.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Allen. And certainly, once again, I'd like to recognize the presence of our board chair, Dr. Greene, and the members of the Board of Trustees. As you might imagine, in my work, I am an insomniac. And as a result, I have seen virtually every program on National Geographic, the Science Channel, and Discovery. To that end, I know the history of the Boeing Company quite well. And I did come to know it long before I met anyone from the company. From those early days in Washington along the river, and the first factory, the first plane, what was interesting about it was that William Boeing and all of his colleagues manifested a drive, a relentless drive for excellence and innovation. And certainly 4 years ago, when I first met Mr. Keating and the other members of the Boeing team, I wondered, what are they doing in South Carolina? Now, of course, I was new to the state and I knew nothing of your plant. And so finally, I started to know Boeing as not only the world-renowned engine of technology that it is, but also as a corporate citizen of equal magnitude. And so as a result, we were just thrilled at the possibility of partnering with them on the Waverly project. The Waverly project is a significant undertaking, not simply as a physical structure, but with regards to the programs that will emanate from that space. Certainly the Institute on Civility is the central focus of that facility, and through it, we would anticipate on a quarterly basis having national and international figures, thought leaders, to come, and we will telecast discussions about the topical issues of the day in a civil manner, something that our country could use a great deal of now. The Institute also has a curriculum that will be available to students here and elsewhere, and also a continuing education component for people who are at work. There are any number of magnificent programs that will be housed in Waverly, and we intend to have you all back for the ribbon cutting in about 12 months or so. At any rate, I will not continue further because we have other wonderful news and information to share with you. I would be remiss if I did not commend Mr. Taylor and the institutional advancement staff for their collaboration with the Boeing Group to bring this event to you. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for being with us today.
Mr. David Calhoun is President and Chief Executive Officer of the Boeing Company. He oversees the strategic direction of the Chicago-based aerospace company and leverages the talents of a global supplier base. Boeing is the world's largest aerospace company and leading provider of commercial airplanes, defense, space, and security systems, and global services. As a top U.S. exporter, the company supports commercial and governmental customers in more than 150 companies. Calhoun became Boeing's president and chief executive in January 2020. He has served as a member of Boeing's board of directors since 2009 and served as chairman of the company's board of directors from October to December 2019. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. David Calhoun.
Thank you. Thank you, and Dr. Mcneely, I appreciate your comments regarding Boeing, and I promise I will pass them out to all of our associates. It's great to be with you, and it's great to be at Allen University. I've heard stories amongst our South Carolina employees, our leadership team about how important this institution is. I wanted to be here in person. One, to share my love of South Carolina. Two, my respect for this university. And then finally, the subject around which we are making our gift, which at this moment in time, I don't think there is a more important subject. And I think all of us can watch our televisions and read our newspapers and all those other things that we do and understand that. So first, thank you. I love to be here. Bishop Greene, Dr. Mcneely, members of the board, employees, students of Allen University. And I also want to thank Congressman Clyburn, all the elected officials, Mayor Benjamin, who I got to know this afternoon at lunch, and members of the clergy that are here with us today. We greatly appreciate your support for the Boeing Company. It means a lot. The grassroots level associations that exist and our support for those important grassroots efforts, I don't think could be at a higher standard. and it's definitely the highest standard across my industrial career. So thank you all for the roles you play in that. I'm honored that my visit here today coincides with Veterans Day. I'm proud of the veterans we have at Boeing. I'm proud of the products and the services that we provide to our men and women in the armed forces. It makes a difference. It gives us that important edge, and ultimately, we're proud of the business that we do with all of them. Ironically, and I can never get on a stage on Veterans Day and not mention my father, who dropped into Normandy in the 101st Airborne Division called the Screaming Eagles. And I didn't learn until recently that it was a Boeing airplane that dropped him in. So I do have an unbelievable amount of respect for the veterans and all that they've done for all of us. They help protect the freedoms we enjoy in this nation. Freedom of speech, engaging in civil discourse are essential to fulfilling the promise of democracy. It's that simple, and we are being tested like we have never been tested before. This is what makes today's announcement meaningful for me personally and our Boeing teammates in South Carolina, across the country, and around the globe. The Institute on Civility will become a powerful influence in our ability as a society to engage in civil discourse. By empowering students and the broader community to debate public issues with civility and respect, we're taking an important step on this critical journey to lasting, sustainable solutions. Civility is a choice. Civility requires skills. It requires conviction to see it through, and we have to be good at it. And most importantly, we have to practice. Everybody has to practice. Unfortunately, at this moment in time, we don't see enough of that. It's also important to note the Institute will house a memorial to honor the 9 victims of the Mother Emmanuel Church tragedy, a tragedy that took our breath away. An important area where we as a society have more progress to make is in confronting racism and achieving racial equity. We've seen it in horrible detail over the last several years. Allen University has played an integral role in African American education since the end of the Civil War. 80 years later, this university and Chappell Auditorium were also at the heart of the civil rights movement. Boeing remains proud of our involvement in restoring the National Historic Landmark. In 2015 and 16, Boeing invested a total of $350,000 to revitalize this auditorium, which hosted heroes of the civil rights movement. Allen University and its neighbor, Benedict College, with which Boeing also has an important partnership, trained students for sit-ins and became the catalyst for peaceful protest during the civil rights movement. At Boeing, we share the values of inclusion, the values of equity that those students fought for all those years ago. In fact, over the last 5 years, Boeing has invested more than $17 million in organizations to expand access and address inequities for communities of color across South Carolina. Just today, we had the opportunity to meet with J.T. McLaughlin to talk about the work being done by the urban leagues across the state and announce to him another level of support for an apprenticeship program that they're involved in. I'm proud to announce that Boeing will be investing $250,000 in that effort. This investment will support African American young adults as they transition to high demand, higher skill jobs in their communities. There is a lot of work to do. We all know it. Today's announcement builds on the legacy of Allen's rich history of being a force for change and on Boeing's commitment to advance racial equity and diversity of thought. Our investment, $1.5 million, is one that we hope will have a lasting impact on this great state and our country for generations to come. It is our shared responsibility to continue the work of those who came before us. I'm confident that the Institute and all of those who learn from it will continue the journey of progress in our society. Again, I thank you all. I thank Allen University for all it has contributed to what I think is the subject matter of our times, and the preparedness of their students to take it on. Boeing is in your corner. So thank you very much.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm pleased to present to you U.S. Representative for the 6th Congressional District, longtime HBCU advocate, U.S. House Majority Whip, and Allen University friend, the Honorable James Clyburn.
Thank you very much. I noticed you left something on there. Maybe I've gotten kicked off the board. I hadn't been in the meeting in a long time. So thank you so much, Bishop Greene and President Mcneely, Vice President Taylor, President Calhoun. Thank you all so much for making this day possible. I want to thank my longtime friend, the mayor, Benjamin, and I see sitting there, the chair of the commissioners, Board of Commissioners for Richland One, his wife, our council lady. Thank you all so much for being here. There are other elected and appointed officials. I'm so pleased to be here with you all today. Is that Senator Scott? Thank you. You're getting to be a habit. Like I was with you last night. Timmy, thank you. The last time I was in this auditorium, it was with you. Were you presenting the check then? I thought you were. So let's meet here again next week. Thank you. Thanks to all of the Boeing family for their support of this institution. Now, I take note of today being Veterans Day. I don't tweet, but I create tweets. And this morning, just after I got out of bed, I text a proposed tweet to my official Twitter. And it was to commemorate Veterans Day, but remember Isaac Woodard. Now, this Institute for Civility means a lot to me. It means a lot to this institution. It means a lot to this city. It means a lot to this state. For those of you who do not know who Isaac Woodard was, passed away just 2 or 3 years ago. Isaac Woodard was a soldier. He was a decorated soldier from World War II. And on his way home from World War II, coming from a Fort Benning or Gordon, one of the two, Georgia, coming home to Fairfield County, he stopped in Batesburg, South Carolina, in his uniform with all of his awards on them. And that stop cost him his sight. A deputy sheriff took his billy club and punched Isaac Wooder's eyes out because he wanted to relieve himself at a bus station. This Institute on Civility means a lot to me, this institution, this state, and this nation. That was the episode that caused Harry Truman, when he read the headline, Harry Truman was President of the United States, says, oh no. It was the act that caused Truman to write the executive order that integrated the armed services. The armed services never was integrated by Congress. It was done by executive order, and that executive order still stands today. It is good for people to know these things, and that's what this institute is all about. Getting people to know and appreciate why things happen as they happen, and what we need to do in order to make sure these things don't happen again. That's what history is all about. It is to instruct us about our past so we'll know what things not to allow to be repeated. That's what this institute is all about. And I want to thank President Mcneely, I want to thank Vice President Taylor, and I want to thank Bishop Greene for their foresight in pulling this institute together, because I think that we are at an inflection point in this great country, and we must learn how to share our lives and existence with each other in a civil way. That's what this institute is all about, and I thank all of you for being here to be a part of it.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, we'll have a special announcement by President Ernest Mcneely.
Your high school chemistry, for many of the wonderful products that we make, it is essential to have a catalytic agent, to have the chemicals that you wish to use to make the product that you're seeking. And because of the catalytic impact that Boeing has had and will have on the rapid development of the Institute, we are pleased to announce that the Institute will be named the Boeing Institute at Allen University in perpetuity. And I think we all should and of course, we have a special gift for Mr. Calhoun that we will give to him subsequent to the end of our program.
At the 47th quadrennial session of the African Methodist Episcopal Church General Conference held in Indianapolis, Indiana in 2004, he was elected and consecrated the 125th bishop in the line of succession in the history of the African Methodist Episcopal Church since Bishop Richard Allen. As a spiritual leader, he presides over almost 600 churches with more than 250,000 members. He chairs the Board of Trustees at Allen University, which has $48 million in assets and an economic impact of some $30 million on the regional economy. Let us welcome the chairman of the board, Bishop Samuel L. Greene, Sr.
Good afternoon to all of you, and I salute each one of you in your respective places, to President Mcneely here at Allen University, and to Congressman Jim Clyburn, who this is the first time, Congressman Clyburn, that I'm so nervous. Usually I come before you and I get to speak before you. I don't usually follow you, and now that I am following you, I know what it feels like to be nervous. To our president, President Calhoun, and to all of the members of the Boeing family, to my mayor, to all of the representatives and senators from the state of South Carolina legislature, to the presiding elders and lay leaders of the African Methodist Episcopal Church, to all of you who have come to witness this wonderful historic moment in the life and the history of Allen University. President Calhoun, you made a statement about Allen's history as it relates to students participating in sit-ins. I want to acknowledge Reverend Simon Bowie, who was one of Allen's students who participated in a sit-in here in Columbia during the Civil Rights Movement. The heart of a corporation is demonstrated in so many ways. In its intentionality to build human resources within the corporate environment in which it exists, and in its reach beyond the corporate community to the broader community. Today's announcement is an example of Boeing's heart for community. And I want to thank Boeing for your contribution, your impact that you are making here in the state of South Carolina, but in particular here at Allen University. This Center on Civility, or Institute for Civility, is definitely a needed institute in the climate in which we presently live. And as we go forth and as we begin to dialogue and exemplify what I believe the human character of all creation is, learning how to disagree, but learning how to agree that it's okay to disagree. Learning how to be able to have opposite sides of opinion without becoming enemies in society. And that's what this center represents. And not only does it represent that, but the whole remodeling of the Good Samaritan Waverly Hospital, bringing it back online to this community as it relates to its history and significance to this particular community in which we live in, and where Allen is now presently residing, is so tremendous to be able to house a memorial of the Emmanuel Nine, where 9 church members, including its pastor, lost their lives over the fact that racial inequality has embedded itself in the hearts of some people in America, that they do not recognize the value of all human life. So I thank God for this privilege, and I thank God for this opportunity that we partner with Boeing as we continue to partner with Boeing, because this is a symbol of what corporate America is. It is not only dollars and cents, margins, and dividends. It is having a heart for community, touching community, reaching to community, pouring back in community, impacting community. And that is what is being exhibited here today with Boeing's contribution of $1.5 million to Allen University in support of the Center or Institute on Civility. I want to thank Tim Keaton and the persons who have demonstrated their commitment to HBCUs and this community of Allen University. You all have demonstrated beyond the call of duty, and it is also a representative of the heart of what Boeing represents to its employees and its human resources. because they represent you, and they have demonstrated the quality of what corporate America is, and that it is not just a symbol, it's not just a place, it's just not buildings, and it's not just the planes that you build, but it's the hearts of the people who represent you. And I want to thank you, Boeing family, for all that you do in relationship to the state of South Carolina and Allen University. And in my closing today, I want to say to all who have assembled that this is a day that we need to pause as we remember all of the veterans who have served this country and given their lives for the safety of all people. If you would just pause for a second. God bless our veterans. God bless the United States of America. God bless the Boeing Corporate Company. God bless Allen University.
This concludes our program. Thank you so much for attending. Thank you.